Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. We will continue with the general anatomy topics. In this video, we will see the general anatomy of the bone, which is an important topic for the first year MBBS students. In this, you have many short notes like atavistic, epiphysis, types of the bones. So we have many short notes. So you keep watching the video till the end so that it will be useful for you. Those who have not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe now. Keep watching the videos. So in this video, we will see first the gross structure of the bone and what is periosteum, classification of the bones, features and parts of the long bones, types of the epiphysis, laws of ossification, which is an important short notes, types of the long bones, other types of the bones, general terms in the bones and blood supply of bones we will see in the next video, and applied anatomy of the bones. Also in this last three topics we will continue with the next video. The other topics we will see in this video. If you see the gross structure of the bone, the gross structure of the bone consists of outer compact part and inner spongy part, which will be called as also as the cancellous bone. There are two parts of the bone, outer compact part and inner spongy part. Each bone is covered by the periosteum, which is except at the articular surface. So this periosteum is outside, and inside the bone, if you see the covering the cylindrical medullary cavity, that is endosteum. So you have to know outer is periosteum and inner is endosteum. So this is the structure of the bone, which we have seen outer compact bone and inner spongy bone. Outer compact part is covered by periosteum and inner medullary part is covered by the endosteum. Periosteum consists of two layers, outer fibrous layer which is made of collagen fibers and inner cellular and vascular. This helps in the bone growth, that is called as the osteogenic layer. This periosteum is having this perforating fibers of Safi, which is that muscle fibers inserted to the bone pierce this periosteum and they will be called as the perforating fibers of Safi. So now we have come to the classification of the bones. So the classifications of the bones we have according to position is the first classification, axial bones. So what are axial bones? In the axis, in the center of the human, skull bones, vertebrae, ribs, sternum, they will be called as the axial skeleton. What is appendicular skeleton? That is appendicular to the axial bones. They are like appendages. Upper limb, which consists of pectoral girdle, which connects this upper limb free bones. What are the upper limb free bones? You should have learned in the school itself. They are the humerus, radius and ulna. So these three bones, how they are connected to the axial skeleton? So these three free bones, they are connected to the axial skeleton by this pectoral girdle. So the lower limb free bones, they are the femur, tibia, fibula and the foot bones. They are connected to the axial skeleton by this pelvic girdle. So you will learn pectoral and pelvic girdles in the upper limb introductions. So what are now this axial skeleton? Skull, sternum, vertebra, ribs, they will be called as the axial skeleton. So this is the free upper limb bones on both sides, free lower limb bones on both sides. Lower limb bones are connected to the axial skeleton. So this is the pelvic girdle. Upper limb bones are connected. This is the pectoral girdle. So we have completed the classification of the bones according to the position. Now according to ossification, membranous bone, cartilaginous bone and membranocartilaginous bone. So this membranocartilaginous means it is ossified by both ways, membranous and cartilaginous. According to the shape, it is classified as long, short, flat, irregular, pneumatic, and sesamoid and accessory. We will see all these types in the coming slides. So first is long bones. Long bones are in which the length exceeds the breadth. So can you tell now the long bones? It is easy. They are the free upper limb bones and free lower limb bones. It will come under the long bones. Basically, all long bones are weight bearing. Yeah, long bone, what are the parts in the long bone? So if you learn osteology, every humerus, radius, ulna, it has same parts. It has a central part, shaft or body, and the upper end and the lower end. Parts of your long bone, the centers of ossification you should know first. It is the primary center. So the primary center means it is that part from which the main part of the bone is ossified. That is from the first part of the bone from which the ossification starts. So these are the parts of your growing long bone. As a rule, this primary center should appear before birth, except some bones which has primary centers after birth. So these primary centers of ossification, you should know for each bone. It will be useful for you. So that if you see some X-ray of your child, a newborn, you should know when the primary center appears, when the secondary centers appear, so that you have to read the X-ray exactly. What is secondary center? Secondary center is that part from which the other accessory parts of the bone are ossified. This center will appear as a rule after birth, except lower end of femur and sometimes upper end of tibia. So this is very important. Lower end of femur appears before birth, so that this obstetrician who take care of this pregnant women, and they do this ultrasound, they see the secondary center at the lower end of the femur. It indicates that embryo has completed its 36 weeks and they will be ready for the delivery. So laws of ossification. So it's very interesting part of this class. This ossification has some basic laws. The primary centers may be single or multiple and usually appear before birth with some exceptions. Secondary centers are usually multiple, appear after birth with exception. Primary centers when multiple all appear simultaneously. Secondary centers when multiple do not appear simultaneously but appear at different dates of life. So all this, as I told, why you should know in the first year itself, this primary center, secondary center, then only you will be able to see X-ray. Or if you become forensic people, you are asked to evaluate that age of that particular dead person, then you should know all this. How can you judge then the age of that particular person? Parts of a long bone. A young long bone presents diaphysis, epiphysis, epiphyseal cartilage and metaphysis. All this can be asked as short notes, MCQs. So the diaphysis is the part of the bone ossified from the center, primary center. So that will be usually the shaft of the bone. The epiphysis, that is the part of the bone ossified from the secondary center, and it may be of three basic types. Pressure epiphysis. It transmits the body weight and protects the epiphyseal cartilage. So a pressure epiphysis, example, heads of the femur, head of the humerus, condyles of the femur and tibia, the examples of the pressure epiphysis. So epiphysis may be asked as types of epiphysis. So this is the example for the pressure epiphysis. This is the head of the femur, so which transmits the body weight, that will come under the pressure epiphysis. Traction epiphysis. It is produced by the pull of some muscles. So the trochanters of the femur, tubercles of the humerus, they are all caused by the pull of the muscles. Atavistic epiphysis. It is phylogenetically independent bone. Now it has attached secondarily to the host bone so that it will receive nutrition. Two classical examples are seen in the human body. Coracoid process of the scapula and posterior tubercle of the talus will come under atavistic epiphysis. So we have seen three different types of epiphysis: pressure epiphysis, traction epiphysis, atavistic epiphysis. Another classification of epiphysis is simple epiphysis and compound epiphysis. More than one epiphysis may be present at one or both ends of the long bone. When individual epiphysis unites with the diaphysis by separate epiphyseal plate, that is called simple epiphysis. So one epiphysis unites with diaphysis by one epiphyseal plate. So that is called simple. Example, upper end of the femur. Compound epiphysis is, you think multiple epiphyses, they unite together first, then later they unite with the diaphysis, then it is called compound epiphysis. Example, upper and lower ends of the humerus. So we have seen two different classifications of the epiphysis now. One is pressure, traction and atavistic, and another is simple and compound. So now what is epiphyseal cartilage? Epiphyseal cartilage is a plate of hyaline cartilage which intervenes between the epiphysis and diaphysis of a growing bone. So as long as bone grows, this epiphyseal cartilage persists. So you should know the nutrient artery, how to identify this nutrient artery direction in the long bones. Towards the elbow they will grow, they will be directed. That means towards the lower end of the humerus and upper ends of the radius and ulna, away from the knee. That means towards the upper end of the femur and lower end of tibia and fibula. Law of union of epiphysis. What is law of union? So laws of ossification we have completed. This law of union enunciates that epiphyseal center, which appears first, unites last with the diaphysis. That is the law of union of epiphysis. This is the direction of the nutrient artery, towards the elbow and away from the knee. What is metaphysis? The end of diaphysis facing towards the epiphyseal cartilage is known as metaphysis. So still now we have completed the types of the bones, parts of the growing bone, parts of the mature bone. So in the parts of the growing bone we have seen epiphysis, metaphysis and diaphysis. Then we have seen the types of epiphysis. Now we will see types of long bones. Long bones are of three different types. They are typical, miniature and modified. So they are of three types: typical, miniature and modified. Typical long bone present a diaphysis and two epiphyses. Most of the long bones will come under this typical. So they are the typical long bones. So this is femur and this is radius and this is humerus. Miniature long bones. So miniature long bones is very interesting. Here the long bone presents single epiphysis at one end only. You see metacarpals, metatarsals, they are all in the articulated hand and articulated foot. Then the phalanges also come under this miniature long bones. Modified long bone. So we have modified long bone. This clavicle is a modified long bone. The body of the vertebra also is modified long bone. So what is this modified long bone is, they also take part in the weight bearing. Then short bones, carpal and tarsal bones. So typically each short bone will be having cubical in shape and presents 6 surfaces. So these are the short bones. You can appreciate the difference between the long bones and the short bones now. Long bone where the length is more than the width. And we have seen miniature long bones. So these short bones are having typically cubical shape and having many surfaces. Flat bones. Flat bones consist of two plates of compact bone and with intervening spongy marrow. So most of the skull bones, vault of the skull, rib, sternum, scapula will come under the flat bones. So this intervening spongy tissue will be called as in the skull as diplo, which contains numerous veins. What are irregular bones? So irregular bones will be having irregular shape. They are irregular in shape. So most of the bones again in the base of the skull, vertebra is irregular bone, hip bones are irregular bones. So this is vertebra. In the base of the skull, the sphenoid, this bone is sphenoid. They are all irregular bones. Pneumatic bones. What is pneumatic? Pneumatic, think for 1 second. Pneumatic means which contains air. They contain air-filled spaces which are lined by mucous membrane. So this is the maxilla, which is surrounding the nasal cavity. We have these pneumatic bones which contain air sinuses. So they will be called, this is filled with air lined by mucous membrane. So bones lined by mucous membrane, that is called as pneumatic bones. Sesamoid. Sesamoid, this type is very interesting again. Sesamoid, how the word is derived is, its Arabic word means a seed. See, same means a seed. Say they appear in the muscle as a seed. So first they thought these muscles are appearing like seeds in the tendons of some muscles. So they named this as sesamoid. So why they are formed? These tendons are subjected to friction during movements of the joints. Then they are formed. So that is the formation. So what is their function? Act as pulleys for muscular. So what are the examples for this sesamoid bones? Patella, that is formed in the quadriceps femoris, that is in the front of the thigh. Pisiform, that is formed in the flexor carpi ulnaris in the front of the forearm. Two bones beneath the head of the first metatarsal, that is in the sole of the foot, this bone is formed. One bone fibula in the lateral head of gastrocnemius, that is in the back of the leg. One at the cuboid bone in the peroneus longus. So all these also why you will think what is this? So many sesamoid bones, how we have to remember? Is it important? Yes, it is important. For example, when patella is formed in that particular individual, you can again know the age of that individual by the appearance of the sesamoid bones. So what are the peculiarities of sesamoid bones? They develop in the tendon of muscles, ossify after birth only, devoid of periosteum, absence of Haversian system. So all these sesamoid bones, if it is asked, you have to enumerate this peculiarities. Now accessory bones. Accessory are supernumerary. They are not regularly present in the skeleton. They may appear with an extra center of ossification in the bone. They may fail to unite with the main bones. They will be called as the sutural bones or Wormian bones. Sutures. Where will you get in the sutures? Only in the vault of the skull. So they are commonest in the skull. In between the vault of the skull bones in the sutures, we have this Wormian bones. So we have completed in this class. Each bone is covered by periosteum, consists of outer cortical and inner medullary cavity lined by endosteum. Periosteum contains perforating fibers of Schaeffi, classified into long, short, flat, irregular and limbatic bones. Long bone, it consists of two parts in the growing type, that is diaphysis, epiphysis and metaphysis. Epiphysis types we have learnt pressure, traction, aberrant and atavistic, and also simple and compound. Types of long bones we had typical, miniature and modified. Bones follow the laws of ossification with example. Types of ossification which we have not seen elaborately in this are membranous and cartilaginous. Blood supply of long bones are nutrient artery, epiphyseal artery, juxtaepiphyseal and periosteal. These two topics we will cover in the next video. I hope you should have understood this important topic, general anatomy of the bone, before you move on to the osteology topics in the upper limb and lower limb. If you have any doubt in this topic, you can just put a message in the comment so that I will reply to your comments. Those who have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe now. We will continue with the next general anatomy topics in the next video. Thank you.